1-5. We have a fix on the target. Move to place the X4 charges at the designated position.
So, I figured I would play a little bit of XCOM 2. I'm kind of sick and my throat really hurts, so I probably won't play it for too long. I was thinking maybe 2 missions. I wanted to talk about some of the things that XCOM 2 does right and some that it does wrong. One of the things I really like about XCOM 2 that is a drastic improvement over the previous XCOM is this initial phase where you're in stealth. As you can see, these little eye icons means that I won't be seen unless I actually go into that area. But there are a lot of things about XCOM 2 that I'm not so sure about. One of the big things I'm not so sure about is the simple fact that XCOM 2 takes a lot from the last XCOM remake, XCOM. They dropped a lot of the things that made the original series interesting, and that's still a sore point with a lot of people. But it's also a situation where what they replaced it with doesn't have quite as much power. In XCOM 1, nobody noticed because the tactical game was so strong. In XCOM 2, the tactical game is a little bit weaker because balance issues have risen to the top, but more importantly, the rest of the game has become less interesting. I'm not saying this game is bad, but I am saying that I have installed a lot of mods in order to keep my interest up. So one of the biggest problems with XCOM 2 is something that they actually inherited from the original series. Now that we are out of concealment, whenever we happen to see an enemy, they immediately see us, and we have to deal with them. This is an annoying situation because it means that you can't sneak up on an enemy. You have to be in explicit stealth in order to do any sneaking at all. In turn, that means that the stealth components of this game are actually pretty weak. The tactical components of this game are actually pretty weak. There's a dominant strategy, and there's always a dominant strategy. There's very rarely any either-or choice that makes sense. It's always just, oh yeah, obviously you do X or Y. It's just a matter of whether or not you've got the right patience to do it. Oh, see, I just hit an enemy. So since I can see them, they can see me, and they're going to come on over and shoot at me.
We're not sure whether to chalk it up to training or stricter mind control.
No problem, boss.
So you can see that all I'm really doing is moving from cover to cover and firing at the enemies. That's pretty much all it consists of. Contrast this to a game that's more complex, like, say, Disgaea. Even though Disgaea is a game that doesn't make any sense, it's just full of random crap. In the end, you can do a lot of stuff, and you have a lot of choices as to what you want to do with your setup. In this game, you really don't have those choices. There's really very few options. It's all optimal or nothing, and I'll talk more about that once we start leveling up. Now, these are things that might be fixed by mods. We'll find out later on, but one of the other issues we have is that the game outside of the combat area is now weaker. Now, I wasn't a fan. Oh, look, let's blow this up. This is definitely worth our time, blowing up a big statue. I wasn't a big fan of the XCOM the last game's world control system. The UFO races and the transferring ships and that sort of stuff all felt iffy, but the replacement does not contain enough meat to keep you interested, keep me interested. I don't feel like there's no more one more day, just one more day feel to it, which is kind of unfortunate because that's what you need. The between combat sections really need to pull you forward, and that's why they exist. One of the things they did really right, I think that the engineer idea, the way that you handle engineers, is very promising, and I think they could do a lot more with that. In fact, that could be a game on its own, but it's not enough because it doesn't pull you forward. Managing the engineers doesn't feel like like it's pulling you in. It just feels like it's something you do while you move forward. And of course, one of the other big flaws of this game is that even if you are on a solid-state drive, those loading screens take forever. So let's see who became what class.
Don't stand a chance, Commander.
Now, this is a mod that's unlocked all of the armor options for just how they look. She's not actually wearing half of an exoskeleton. It's just a visual. So she got upgraded into a trooper, which is not a default class. I've never used any of these non-default classes, so this is one of the things I like. The ability to mod in new classes is great. Return fire is not an ability I ever choose. It's a pretty dull ability. Every single time it comes up and there's something on the other side, I almost always take what's on the other side. But as a base ability, it's actually not a bad call. Well, we'll keep going on here. Who are you going to be? A rogue. So this is, I think, a class that uses a kind of weapon that doesn't even exist in default, the submachine gun. Now, this character did not just get one thing, he got two things, and I didn't even see that until I looked over here. Phantom is an extraordinarily powerful ability, and that means that Rogue is already stronger than the equivalent class at every other level. Phantom is the ability you get at 3rd level. This is 2nd level. 3rd level is where you get it with the class that normally has Phantom, and it allows you to use stealth even after the rest of your team has been unstealthed, and it's extremely powerful. Having the improved aim and crit as well as Phantom seems quite overpowered. I don't know, but on the other hand, they have the crappiest weapons, so maybe it balances out. And Fabio became a sniper.
Our sharpshooter.
Snipers are fine. They have the best power curve. They're useful at every level. And Mayundi became a ranger. This is the default overpowered class. The ranger is by far the most overpowered of classes. The only problem with the ranger is her relatively low max damage capability. We don't have a heavy, and that means that right now all of our damage is crap. A heavy is the one that can deal a lot of damage. Now the heavy cannon does deal more damage than the other weapons in its weight class, but it's not just that. As the heavy gets upgraded, you can start to do things like double attacks or grenade and then attack or grenade and grenade. So you get a lot more flexibility with the damage output. I noticed that as I was importing these classes, I noticed that they were all lightweight, low damage classes. So we're going to want to have a heavy as soon as possible.
To the research labs.
And unlike many of the XCOM games in the past, there is no best research path in the beginning. You just research all of them. You've got enough time to do them all. I do like these NPCs. I feel like they have enough personality. They're two-dimensional, but that's fine for support NPCs. So because we need a heavy, we're going to build ourselves a guerrilla tactics school. We also want to expand our squad size as we can, so that's, two things that we're going to work on.
I wish we had a simulator for Bradford to practice.
Command.
That was the most annoying person in the game. So right now, we skip the tutorial, so we don't have any missions here. We're just gonna wait until our engineer saving mission comes up, and that'll be the second mission I do. And then I'll put my throat to rest. Modular weapons by default are not very good. In the beginning of the game, the modules you get for them are not worth putting on. At the end of the game, you're already going to have this research, so there's no reason to prioritize this. However, I did take a mod that said that it was going to make modular weapons more useful, so we'll see. Magnetic weapons is what we're actually aiming for, but they're a ways away. Oh yeah, let's take a look at one of the flaws in this game that's almost an advantage. This grid here. Now, back in ye old days of the original series, your bases could get extremely complex, and you could actually defend them. The way you laid them out mattered, because that's when they were attacked. That layout was what you walked through. They've been doing something simpler, where they just have a couple of exposed power coils, and everything else is generic. So, can you shut up, Central? I really hate you. Thank you. So, the problem with this approach is that it takes so long to clear these out that you generally have every single slot filled with a, you don't have a way to deviate from the path. The only question is whether or not you go for a Psi Academy, because you can beat the game without one. That is the only choice you really make here. It's, do you go for a Psi Academy or not? Now, if you found yourself making choices, that means you built your base wrong. There's no way around it. That is the simple truth. There is a best path, and I'll show it to you as we go. I don't claim to be an excellent tactician, but this game has some extremely obvious tactics, some dominant strategies that are just really, really obvious. So we're going to haul on over to get James Hill, our first engineer, and then we're going to maybe do just a touch more work as I tell you a little bit more about the base, and then we'll be done. So we have a couple of options here. We're going to rescue this guy. Who do we want to bring? And I think that we do not need a trooper yet. I don't, trooper is probably okay. Let's take the trooper. We'll go ahead and just level these people up. I was gonna go ahead and try for another rookie to try and get a heavy, but I'll train the heavy up myself using the room I'm building. So Fabio will be our medic. And now we are in for another long-ass loading screen.
We're in the pipe. 5x5.
I've put in all of the decrease delays and that sort of stuff that I could find. These loading screens are legit this long. It's not just that Central won't shut up. They're doing some kind of really slow loading. Maybe everything's zipped or something. The call to destroy alien relays, snipers are extremely useful in these kinds of missions because they can hit the alien relay from across the stage. I've never had a problem with any of these missions. This, I think, is probably the easiest kind of mission. No, I take that back. There is one easier mission, and that is escort someone to evac. If you don't have to rescue them and you're just escorting them to the evac, it's super easy. Wow, it's really close. This should be a cakewalk. Let's find out. So we're going to want to be careful with our current ninja. Makuba here has an ability which means he'll stay stealth when the rest of the team is discovered, but that's only true if the rest of the team is discovered and not him. So we're going to leave him in the back for now.
Although they bear some resemblance to the sectoids first encountered during the invasion, their genetic structure now includes human DNA. They are stronger than ever, with an even greater psionic potential.
Are they really? Because the sectoids in the previous game were way more dangerous. These guys are the least dangerous enemy in the game. They're less dangerous than basic troopers.
Getting it done. Understood. Moving out.
And here's our ninja. We'll go ahead and bring him down to a place where he won't be spotted. Yeah, he can make those jumps no problem because for some reason he's wearing power armor. I didn't realize it was going to unlock armor options from armors that you weren't wearing. That's kind of strange. So that was on purpose. If they spot you on their turn, then they don't get to attack. Oh, I was wrong. I guess, technically speaking, they just get one action, and they can choose to just attack you if they please. I haven't seen that happen before very much, though. This is only the second time I've ever seen it happen. So,
Tired of waiting around.
it's fine. Gosh, she does no damage. Let's go ahead and take him out with the sniper. Come on, Fabio. Yeah, that's this kind of game. That's what this game is. That's one of the reasons I really don't like it. The tactics that you might take or not take are far less important than... There we are. Than your luck. Luck is so important in this game that it's almost unbelievably... Excuse me, almost unbelievable. I don't know whether or not the mod causes this or not, but this is not a beginning class weapon upgrade. That's an advanced weapon upgrade. So now I have an option. Do I want to reveal this character, or do I want to leave him in the shadows? And the answer is I want to reveal him. It's possible for my sniper to get shot by him and he would die, so I want to take him out right now. Good. Ideal happenings. The other team found us. They're far enough away that I think they'll both use their action to move, which is ideal. So one of the things I haven't seen very many people mention, but I think is really interesting, all of the cars have like solar panels and machines stapled to them. Not that one. All of the civilian cars, like this guy here. And I think that's really weird. I didn't ever notice it until I blew a car up while I was looking at it. But they all have a lot of random stuff attached to them. Now, obviously, that's not how you build a solar car. But it's not just solar panels. I'll show you. I guess there are no other cars. We're not going to see any other cars, but it's not just solar panels. There are a lot of other things that can be on them, and I'm not sure whether they just wanted their cars to look cool or what, but it's an interesting fact. Come on, Fabio, make up for that. Thank you. Ah! I thought I could reach him.
Orders confirmed. Moving out.
Now, the first two missions are cakewalk, so don't think I'm very impressive for going through them. Getting my sniper shot was unusual. I did not expect that. I expected to get through this mission without any damage at all. This is where our ninja would come in handy if he was still ninjing, but he's not. Okay, our sniper is not going to be able to hit that from back there. It's sometimes possible, but this thing is in the way.
Come get some.
Running.
Running. We've got the objective in sight.
Don't scare me like that. I thought you found an enemy. I gotta say, this ninja class, I don't think it's actually a ninja class, it's called something else, but they have a lot of movement. Like, holy shit.
It's killing time.
Tired of waiting around.
I don't know where the rest of the enemies are just yet, but they're probably around back.
Confirmed destruction of the relay.
Most of the time when the enemies aren't when you're not declared clear, they're all just like right back here. So we're gonna go ahead and take it slow. If you aren't sure where the enemies are, what you really want to do is cause them to come out on their turn rather than yours. But failing that, what you want to do is have them only come out when you have a lot of active guns. And that means that you don't want to waste any double moves. If you are double moving, then you will not have extra guns. And that means that if they come out to play, you won't be able to fire at them with any sort of real power. So basically what I'm saying is, unless, time permitting, you really want to move forward in half moves like this so that you can go into Overwatch.
Advent troop spotted.
And since we can see them, they can see us, even though there's no way they should be able to see us. I've seen a lot of people... wow, that looked dangerous. I've seen a lot of people say that we shouldn't complain about the camera because it's hard to do cameras. This camera is unforgivably bad. I have seen better cameras a lot. There's no reason the camera should be this bad. Now, we're not going to be able to kill this sectoid, but we would like to keep him from any potential chance that he might charge... Why didn't you slash him? I forgot to mention the UI for this game is hilariously bad. Just the most awful. So the sectoid's only danger is that he can shoot you, and the shots do slightly more damage than the average person's shots do. His other attacks, Resurrection, Mind Control, Panic, they're only dangerous if you're already in a tight spot, and we just aren't. So we could shoot our own guy, but we're not frigging dumb, so we're just going to go over and kill this sectoid. That'll free our guy up.
Seems doable.
Now, right now, we would be finishing off this match entirely if our ranger had actually used her sword as we told her to. But because she decided that she just wanted to give him a hug, not risk accidentally cutting her finger or anything, we now have to try pretty hard to kill this guy off before our mind-controlled ranger gets a chance to go. Unfortunately, it looks like it might be very hard. So it's all up to our sniper. If our sniper can get close enough to use a pistol, and I really doubt it.
I'm on it.
Nope. So the only other option here is to heal ourselves. Hopefully that'll keep us from dying. The good news is it was the ninja was charmed, and the ninja can't really do that much damage. Oh. No damage in this case. Don't you frigging...
That didn't feel good.
Well, that fell apart right in the end, didn't it? I should have been able to get through this without taking any damage, but instead I got 3 characters injured out of 4.
Heading out.
Don't overwatch, you might accidentally hit someone. Alright, so I've got a question for you. Do you want to stab this guy with your sword? I kind of think that might be fun, but there's like a 1 pixel difference between stabbing him and just standing next to him and making funny faces at him. Oh my god, she stabbed him with a sword! If she'd done that the first time I told her to, we wouldn't have 3 injured people.
Status confirmed. All hostiles are down in the area.
My favorite is I have lost missions entirely because of the UI. Not just things like the ranger not actually stabbing people, but things like, oh, you moved 1 pixel and now you're going to be dashing up the stairs to the 2nd floor. No reason, just the UI is bad. While I'm complaining about this game, that's because it's annoying. It's a good game, but anytime something goes wrong in this game, it feels really, really catastrophic. Or you really are like, oh gosh, I could have prevented that. Now I'm screwed. Even if there's just something small, like when I automatically responded by shooting my friend in the head with a pistol. That's a small thing in this game, but it felt like because of that, anything wrong with the UI radically amplifies how annoying the game is, because you're like, that's not what I told you to do. Now you're just making the game hard on purpose. But it is a good game. It's all about risk management, but unfortunately you can't really manage all the risk. You can only kind of manage a little bit of the risk. There are still times when randomly an enemy will just get a lucky critical from across the map and one of your guys who is in perfect health would die. There's nothing you can do about it, and that's one of the reasons I don't really like it as a tactical game. So, we could return fire, which seems like not a great idea for someone who's only got 3 hit points. Or we could add blindside. Blindside seems like an incredibly good power. Extra damage, armor piercing, and mobility. We could do with a lot more armor piercing abilities, because the whole reason I need a heavy is for armor shredding. Armor is really... the only person who can deal with armor is the heavy. Alright, so this, you gotta take Phantom. Blade Master is just nowhere near as good. Stealth is a really powerful ability, especially when combined with a sniper backing you up. So, definitely take Stealth. Now, Honest Movie Trailer's voice guy is going to
Hello,
tell us stuff.
Commander. The council you once knew is no more.
In a world where the council you once knew is no more. So now we've got an engineer, and we can open up the engineer options. This area here is the engineer's playground, and it's a lot of fun. You need engineers in order to clear the space out, but you also have to do staffing with engineers and a lot of other stuff. It's a very simple base management game, but it feels really meaty. And there are some obvious best and worst practices. For now, we're just going to clear away some debris, and we're going to aim to get to this exposed power coil as fast as we can. We do not want to spend any money or time building power resources not on a power coil. We still have a lot of stuff to do before we can actually do missions, but I'm going to leave that until later. We could keep doing this for a little bit longer this episode, but I don't think I want to because my throat really hurts. I don't feel like this is a very fun game to Let's Play because you have to either save scum, which is very boring to watch, or you have to play it very safe, which is very boring to watch. I'd be much happier to Let's Play some other game. I'm doing this just because someone asked me, and I also thought there's a lot to talk about with this game. There's a lot to talk about relative to how it's designed and how it works, whether or not it's good or bad, and what things are good or bad about it. Because of that, you can talk about this game a lot, but actually watching someone play it is probably going to be pretty dull. The only joy that you're going to get is when something goes wrong and you hear me go... Anyway, I just made this on a lark because I'm too sick to do anything useful.